Hi, everyone. I'm Erica Pizzi. Vladimir Duthier will join me shortly. And you were just watching a special report from CBS News. Our own Scott Pelley reporting that the Justice Department has appointed special counsel to investigate the Russian government's efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election. It will be former FBI Director Robert Mueller. Now, he served under both presidents, George W. Bush and President Obama. And we have also learned something interesting about Director. While he was director, he actually served alongside Deputy Attorney General, then Deputy Attorney General James Comey. So we know that those two certainly know each other. And again, Mueller has 12 years as FBI director. He's best known for actually pushing to expand wiretapping laws. And of course, this all comes as calls have been growing for a special prosecutor, not just from Democrats, but also from Republicans. And of course, today we've been hearing much more from the GOP that potentially independent counsel will be needed to be brought in to really get to the bottom of this. So let's go ahead and bring in CBS's justice reporter, Paula Reid. Paula, thanks for joining us. What do you make of this appointment?
Well, it's almost like Rod Rosenstein had no choice. Since the beginning of his time as Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein has been completely resistant to the idea of appointing a special counsel. He repeatedly told us that he believes that career investigators, career prosecutors, they are trained to handle things in an objective way, and would not be handing off his case. But as we've seen with developments over the past 24 hours, now he has decided that in order, as he said, to give the American people full confidence in the outcome of this investigation, he has chosen to hand off this entire investigation to former FBI Director Robert Mueller.
Okay, let's talk about his background, though. I mean, we know he was an FBI director for 12 years under George W. Bush and President Obama. You know, does that help his investigation? I mean, if he knows exactly, you know, what sort of the FBI is going to be doing, because he knows the sort of process that they're going through, because we do know that there are 3 investigations, you know, running concurrently right now between the FBI and then the House and the Senate. Will that make him impartial?
It's not so much that it makes him impartial as it makes him the obvious leader. As we know, the Attorney General has had to recuse himself. The Deputy Attorney General is overseeing this, but the man who was handling it across the street at the FBI was just fired. He has an acting deputy who's acting as the FBI director. There's just no clear person who is in control of this investigation. And what former FBI Director Mueller will bring to this is he will bring experience, gravitas. He knows how the FBI operates, and it will be clear who is in charge. And I think that is really the value of bringing a former director into this very contentious, very complicated situation.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about this. How do you think Mueller differs from other special prosecutors that have been appointed to investigate former presidents? For instance, Ken Starr, Archibald Cox. Of course, Ken Starr, when he was appointed to be the special counsel during the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal, and of course, Archibald Cox investigating Nixon with Watergate. What do you think about that?
Well, what you really needed here was someone that can be trusted by the FBI investigators who are handling this, that perhaps feel that the White House and maybe even Main Justice, the head of the Justice Department, aren't really supporting their work or trying to actively interfere. They needed to know that they had someone who understands their work, who has done it before, who has led FBI investigators. And it's hard to get much more gravitas when you're leading an FBI investigation than being a former FBI director. So it does appear, given the very complicated, sticky situation that they have right now, Mueller is central casting.
All right, Paula, just one more question to you. Critics say he's too close to FBI agents. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's not an untrue statement. He obviously knows a lot of these people. He worked there for a long time. He was very well respected. But the fact is, I think the familiarity is going to help, because clearly the people who are investigating this do not feel that they are being completely supported by the White House. They could not trust their Attorney General after he had to recuse himself after failing to disclose some important conversations that he had. I think familiarity is not a bad thing here in terms of being familiar with the agents who are doing the work. What you didn't want is someone who is too familiar with Attorney General Sessions or too familiar with the President of the United States. So I'm sure there will be critics over this selection, but being very close to the situation, having just left the Department of Justice and a meeting with senior officials, it appears that he is exactly what they need right now, someone that the rank and file who are working on this can trust, respect, and who can lead them to hopefully the right outcome in this investigation.
Okay, Paula, stay with us. I want to bring in Steve Chaggaris, CBS News political director. And Steve, how do you think this is going to play within Congress? Republicans, Democrats, what are they going to make of Bob Mueller being appointed to special counsel here?
Well, I think Democrats will be very happy about this. There's been a lot of Democrats calling for some sort of independent investigation or special counsel. They're getting their wish on this. Republicans have been very quiet on this front, or basically stepping back from calling for a special counsel. So that's going to be interesting to watch, to see what Republicans say about this move by the Justice Department to do this. Keep in mind, too, that Rosenstein is scheduled to go to Capitol Hill tomorrow and answer questions about all of this stuff surrounding Comey. So I think this might make his appearance a little bit easier as he goes up to the Hill and has this news to bring to those members of Congress.
And Steve, what do you think the White House is going to make of this?
Well, that's a very good question. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, what's interesting about all of this is that Rosenstein does answer to the President of the United States. And so there might be some people who might not be totally, I don't know, happy with the idea of a special counsel, in the sense that the President still does have he's still the authority over all of this. Secondly, what we do have to keep in mind, and Paula can probably speak to this a little bit more than I can, but a special counsel really is looking for criminal matters. And so a lot of things that they might uncover as they do this investigation, if it's not connected to some sort of criminal matter, may just be put into a bucket somewhere, and we may never hear from it. There are people who are critical of the idea of a special counsel that say they might not uncover everything that would have been uncovered by a congressional investigation or a special independent commission investigating this. So there may be information that might not be uncovered, which actually may work in the president's favor. And again, some critics may point that out after this announcement.
All right, so let me bring Paula in then. Paula, you heard Steve there saying that potentially information could be missed because they are going this route of a special prosecutor instead of potentially doing the independent commission that we heard the Dems call for today. What do you think of that?
Well, there's a lot of different options here, and there will be multiple different avenues of investigation. But on this, it is my understanding, based on conversations just now with some senior justice officials, that the FBI investigators, the rank and file folks, they may stay on this investigation with Robert Mueller. So it won't be that much different than a typical FBI investigation. But Steve makes a good point. You don't get to see everything that's uncovered in cases where there are no charges brought. That is what made the Hillary Clinton investigation so unique and ultimately problematic, is they chose to open the file and show us everything they found, even though no charges were brought. So it is unlikely, if no charges are brought, that we are going to get a rundown of the evidence like we did with FBI Director Comey.